Class. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at bar charts, pie charts, and histogram. We're going to be looking at bar charts, pie charts, and histogram. That's our topic for today. Okay, so let's continue to our slide. Look at this. In the previous class, we have treated mean, median, mode, range. We've talked about statistics. You understand the definition of statistics. So today we want to look at bar charts, we want to look at histogram, and we want to look at pie charts. So what is a bar chart? Okay, a bar graph is a chart that uses either horizontal or vertical bars to show comparisons among categories. A bar chart is a graph or a chart that uses either horizontal or vertical bars to show comparisons among categories. Look at that. These are examples of bars. Have you heard of chocolate bars before? Yes. Look at that. Look at this. So these are bars. So this is an example of a bar chart when you make use of horizontal or vertical bars. This is an example of an a vertical bar. This is an example of a vertical bar. So these are vertical bars used to show comparisons among categories. Okay, so let's proceed. We want to look at examples. All right, so this is an example. Look at that. This is your axis right here. This axis shows your discrete value, represents your discrete value, while the other axis shows specific categories you are trying to compare. The specific categories you are comparing is what you represent with this axis. Okay, so look at that. What do you notice on this diagram? Look at it. The bars are of the same width. That's the same wideness, the same level of wideness, of the same width. Look at it. This one is as wide as this. One is not bigger, as in one is not wider than the other. So that is one thing you should watch out for when you are looking at a chart, to tell whether it's a bar chart or not. Then the distance between them, look at the spacing before them, is the same. The space before this and this is the same as the space between this and this. And the space between this and this is also the same. Look at that. So that's one thing you should look at. The spacing will always be the same. Then the charts, or the bars will be of the same width. The same width. So that's one thing you always notice in a bar chart. So let's proceed. So I said earlier that you can have horizontal bars, then you can have vertical bars. This is an example of an horizontal bar chart. So it is also possible to draw bar charts so that the bars are horizontal, which means that the longer the bar, the larger the category. Look at that. So of course in this bar chart now, you will see clearly that this is the longest. So this tells you that this is the bar with the largest category. Okay, so the longer the bar, the larger the category. You can draw a bar graph facing this direction like an horizontal bar graph. Then you can also have the vertical bar graph. You can also have grouped bar charts. You can have grouped bar chart. Look at this. This is a case where you have cluster of bars. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 clustered together. Then you have spacing. Remember I told you the space will always be the same. Look at the spacing here. It's exactly like the same spacing you have here, like the same spacing you have here. But look at this. You have cluster or group of bars. So you can have that. Look at this now. This example is each group is representing a quarter. Look at that. Let's say a quarter of a year. That is the first 3 months of the year clustered together. Look at that. Then you have the spacing. Then you have the second quarter. Then you have the third quarter. But you can take note that each of the bars are still the same wideness, the same width. Look at it. The bars are of the same width. And this cluster together, there's space between them before you now have the next quarter. Then there's space before you have the next quarter. So you should always take note of that, because you will have histogram and they will also be clustered together, but they won't have any space in between them. But this is a bar chart. Now you still have the space in there. Okay, so it's used to represent values for more than one item that share the same category. More than one item sharing the same category, you can have them like grouped bar chart. Okay, let's proceed. Here we have histogram. So what is histogram? It is a representation of frequency distribution by means of rectangles whose widths represent class intervals and whose areas are proportional to the corresponding frequencies. Okay, look at that. Look at this. You will see that histogram is a bit wider than your bar chart, your bar graph. This is a bit wider. Not only that, look at it, the difference between this and your bar chart is that this does not have any spacing in between them. Can you see that? You don't have any spacing. All the stuffs are, the bars are together. They are clustered together all through. No single space in between histogram. Okay, so let's proceed. Did you see this? We want to look at this example to look at histogram. Look at this simple example. Consider the following set for example. You have number 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6. So we can grab them like this. You can have your frequency. Of course, frequency is the same thing as the number of times a particular value is occurring. The number of times is occurring. So that's why they write times appearing here. You group that here. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just number it according to your data set, like what you have here. You use your discretion and your number here. Okay, so look at this place. We have your number in set, your data set represented here. I have 1 in my data set, so 1 is here. I have 2 here, 2 as I have 2 here. I have 3 in my data set, so I have 3 here. I have 4, I have 5, and then I have 6, and then I have all of that represented here. Okay, so I want to look at the number of times my values are appearing. How many times does 1 appear? It appears once. Can you see that in the data set in your question? So 1 appears only once here. So I'm just going to draw my bar. It will stop at 1 here. And then I will just rule that. You make that drawing. Remember, in histogram, you don't have spacing. So the next information, the next data will just follow straight away without a single space. So 2 appears how many times in your question? In your data set, you have it 1, 2. So it appears twice. So I'm just going to draw the next bar up to that point 2. And then that will be here. Then the third number you have here is 3. How many times does 3 appear in your questions? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 appears 4 times. So I'm just going to draw my 3 up to the level of 4 here. You know, remember this side is controlling the number of times each data appears. Okay, so 3 appears 4 times. So I'm just going to rule that straight away without leaving any space. Then 4 appears 2 times. Look at that. So 4 ends on the same level with 2. Then 5 appears once. That ends on the same level with 1. Did you see that right here? Okay, and then 6, just like that. So that's an example you have there of an histogram. That's an example for histogram. So look at this. When you have data ranges, like you have 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. This is your question right here. So you will just do your frequency here. This is the same thing as the number of times something is appearing, like we have in the previous example I just showed you. So this is frequency. How many times does 0 to 10 appear? Look at this. 1. 10 to 20 appears 3 times. 20 to 30 appears 6 times. You know, 30 to 40 occurs 4 times. Then 40 to 50 occurs 2 times. So I'm just going to plot that on this graph here. So this will be my frequency side. I can also name it times appearing, like the previous example. The number of times it occurs, times appearing, but it's the common word to use is your frequency. So you just put frequency. How many times does it occur? Okay, so look at my 0 to 10 here. Then 10 to 20 group, my 20 to 30 group, my 30 to 40, then 40 to 50. Those are my data ranges. Okay, look at it. So 0 to 10 appears once. I just draw that up to 1, no space. Then you move forward to plot your 10 to 20. It appears 3 times. So right up to this place, I just draw it up to 0.3. Then my 20 to 30 occurs 6 times. So I'll draw the graph up to that 0.6. Then your 30 to 40 occurs 4 times. So your graph will end on that line where you have 4. Look at that. Then your 40 to 50 occurs 2 times. So you just draw your graph up to the point where you have 2 on the line. Did you see that? So everything has to be joined together. That's your histogram right there that you have. So that's one example there. Let's proceed to pie chart. A pie chart or pie graph is a circular chart divided into sectors. Look at that, divided, cut into different sectors. Each sector shows the relative size of each value. Look at this big circle cut into different sectors. I have UK, I have Australia, I have Germany here, I have France, I have US, represent, all of these sectors representing each of those countries right there. Okay, so let's proceed to look at an example. Look at student grades. You have students that have grade A, those that have grade B. I have 4 students having grade A. I have 12 students having grade B. Then I have 10 students here having grade C, and then two students having grade D. So you can plot that on a graph here. Look at that, like your pie charts. Look at the grades represented here. See the one with the largest grade, that's grade B. I have 12 students under grade B. Look at that. Look at the sector bigger. That's the biggest sector you have there, because the number that category is the largest. So look at that. You can see that the sector that what I used to represent that sector is like the biggest portion there, right there, and others too you can see accordingly. Okay, so that's an example you had there. All right, so pie charts are a visual way of displaying data that might otherwise be given in a small table. Then they are nominal data, and nominal data are categorized according to descriptive or qualitative information, such as county of birth or type of pet that is owned. Then pie charts are generally used to show percentage or proportional data. Okay, so we are going to stop on that note, but I want to give you an assignment. I will have to explain the assignment a little bit here so that you can understand when you are solving the questions. And in case you have any question in the course of doing the assignment, you can always send the private chat as a message for clarification. Okay, look at this: collecting and representing data. During the past few lessons, you have looked at ways of collecting and representing data. You will now put all of your knowledge together to complete these questions. So I'm just going to send this question to everybody. All right, look at the question 1. I'm sure you will have this question by the time you will be watching this. Okay, so the information, question 1 says the information shown displays the color of 30 cars in the school car park. Complete the tally chart below. Look at that. I have color green, gray, yellow, gray, red, black, gray, green, red, blue. All these are representing the color of cars parked in the school car park. Okay, so they want you to represent this data in this table. Look at that: car color, then you have your tally, then you have your frequency. I've told you frequency stands for the number of times something is appearing, the number of times something occurs. Okay, look at color green right here. How many times does color green occur here? I'm going to count. This is 1, 2, and that's 3, and then 4. So that would be your example, so that you follow that pattern too. So you just draw 4 strokes here: 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember tally? So you make 4 strokes under the tally, then you write figure 4 here. That's the number of times that color green occurs. So just write 4 here, and I want you to complete the rest for me. You tell me the number of times gray occurs, write it here, make the strokes here the way you are supposed to do it for tally. Remember, when you are representing 5 on that tally, 1, 2, 3, 4, you cross the 5th one on the other 4. Then if you have more than 5, you will just extend and count another set of numbers right behind that. Okay, then you write the figure here under your frequency table. Okay, so let's leave that. Question 2 says, using your frequency table, answer these questions. How many cars on the car park are gray? Just look at your frequency table and tell me the answer. How many are gray? You write it there. How many more reds than white cars are there? That means you take away the figure for red colors from the figure of white cars. Do you understand? Take away the figure of white cars from red cars. How many more reds than white do you have? That's what that question is saying. So you find the color for red, find the color for white, you subtract, and you write that here. Okay, which is the most popular color? Which color have the largest frequency here will be your answer for this, please. Okay, let's just proceed a bit. All right, so you are going to do that for me as your assignment. Oh yeah. Okay, look at question 3. Using the pictogram on the right, answer. Okay, using the pictogram on the right, answer the following questions. This is an example of a pictogram. When you represent data with pictures, that's a pictogram. So look at this. Did you see that glass cup? You see 4 glass cups here representing Coca-Cola. These are using, this is an example of using pictures to represent numbers. Okay, they said, the question says, when a glass cup, look at this glass cup, the image of the glass cup here. When this image stands for 2 students, answer this question, knowing fully well that each glass cup represents 2 students. Did you see that? How many students like Coca-Cola? Just go and count how many, then multiply by 2, because each glass cup represents two students. So there are 4 students, there are 4 glass cups here. That tells me 8 students like Coca-Cola. Just follow the other procedure, that same procedure, and do the other questions for me. How many students like tea? So you just can. Did you see half glass cup here? That should tell you half of 2, which means 1. So when you are adding, you know what to add here, because you can't add 2 here. It's not a complete glass cup, it's just like half. It's exactly half. So that tells you that is 1. So you will add the others and add 1 here instead of 2. Okay, so that will give you your answer. How many more students like orange juice than water? Find out how many like orange juice, find out how many like water, subtract, you get your answer for this, please. Okay, so let's proceed. I'm just going to go to question 4. The number of goals scored by a footballer this season can be represented by a dash. Look at this picture. That's a picture of a football there. So you are they use pictogram to set this question for you. So using the information below, draw a pictogram. Okay, sorry, you have to draw the pictogram to represent the information. Look at Suarez is the name of this guy. He has 16. He scored 16 goals. Okay, look at that. They want you to represent each goals by a football, and they want you to use 1 football to represent 2 goals, because if you don't do that, you have 18 here, you keep on drawing, and the space you have is limited. So they want you to use 1 football to represent 2 goals. Now you have to use your discretion. Now at least consider the example we have had. The previous question you just answered should put you through here. Suarez have 16 goals, sorry. So if you are going to represent Suarez goals, now what are you going to do? You should have 8 balls here, knowing fully well that each football picture is representing 2 goals. So you should have 8 balls here. Just follow that same procedure to fill up the rest of the place. Okay, all right, let's proceed to the next question. Okay, write down as many things as are wrong with this bar chart. Look at this bar chart that is given. There are mistakes and errors here, so they want you to write 6 things that is wrong with this bar chart. You will just look at it, observe it, and tell me 6 things that is wrong with this bar chart. Write it here. Okay, let's proceed. The final question I want you to solve for us here. Question 6. The pictogram below shows the favorite sports of pupils from year 7 class. Draw a bar chart showing this information. Draw a bar chart showing this information. Look at that. Football. Look at it. They're giving you key. Key is like a secret to this pictogram. So the secret to this pictogram says each football represents 2 students. Okay, so that should tell you that how many students now enjoys football as their favorite sport. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 2 will give me 8. So this should tell you that where you just fill this place up. 2, you can continue 3, 4, 5, 6. Number this up to like 9, just to be on safe side. Number this up to like 9, because it stopped the numbering at 2, so you complete the numbering yourself up to like 9. Then for football, you will draw your bar. They want you to represent it with bar chart. So you draw your bar up to 0.8, depending on where your number 8 is on this line. So you draw your bar up to 0.8. Remember, bar chart we have spacing. That's why they left the space between football and rugby here. You have to complete the rest by yourself. After rugby, you have tennis, so you put tennis here, and you are supposed to put netball here. They have put the spacing in between for you already. You can see that. Okay, so your football, you draw your bar up to 0.8. You count the number of balls you have here accordingly, and draw the bar for rugby. So use this to complete this. and they are giving you like a guideline in case you don't know how to draw. Just follow the checklist here. Your frequency going up in equal amounts. Your bars should be of the same width. You remember we treated that in your example. Then your gaps should be equal. The gaps between the spacing should be equal. Then your lines should be drawn with a ruler. Just follow the guideline they gave you here and you'll be fine to draw your bar charts. Okay, till I come your way next time. Bye bye.